Hey guys, welcome back to Based MMA. In this video, I'm gonna be discussing UFC 291, the whole card. What an amazing card, guys! What an amazing card, full of finishes. Just a overall very exciting card. I felt like the elevation didn't really play too much of a role for this card as it did last year, where we saw a lot of the fighters in that card gas out. For example, like Paulo Costa, Luke Rockhold, a lot of fighters were gassing out. The Aldo versus Murat fight and so forth. But for this card, I felt like fighters were a little bit more prepared for that, and they probably trained in elevation to get used to the elevation of Utah. And the fighter just looked overall a lot better. But with all that being said, I mean, a lot of the fights did end in the first round. And just starting off the card, Kevin Holland submits Michael Chiesa in the very first round. And just as I predicted, guys, I just think Michael Chiesa really has no striking on the feet. He really has no striking at all. He's like a fish out of water when it comes to striking. He looked very timid as well. Like, he was scared. Like, Kevin Holland wasn't even throwing like the biggest shots, and he was already like covering up and kind of like falling against the fence and stuff like that. And I was like, wow, man, like either he doesn't want to be there, he can't take a shot, or I guess Kevin Holland just has amazing power. And just Kevin Holland looked very composed, in control of the fight. Michael Chiesa was trying to take him down, but I guess Kevin Holland is a lot stronger. I mean, Kevin Holland is used to the middleweights, to the strength of the middleweights. So I'm pretty sure him moving down to welterweight, when somebody like Michael Chiesa tries to take him down, I'm pretty sure he can out muscle him in a way, and he was able to reverse the clinch position. So Kevin Holland looked incredible, man. I was expecting a TKO by Kevin Holland, but he was able to get the Darce choke and get that submission, guys. And just an incredible performance by Kevin Holland. And I think that Michael Chiesa should probably call it a career. I mean, the guy does commentary, and he was coming back from a 2-year layoff, and I just don't really see Michael Chiesa really making it to the top of the welterweight division. I mean, unless he just wants to fight just to fight. I mean, he could still keep taking fights, maybe fight opponents that are unranked and stuff like that, but I mean, he's just gonna be a gatekeeper for the rankings in the welterweight division. So I don't see the point of Michael Chiesa really staying around. I mean, he already gets paid to commentate and stuff like that, so what's the point of receiving more damage? You know what I'm saying? So I think when it comes to Michael Chiesa, I think maybe he should consider retiring. He didn't look great against Kevin Holland. It wasn't like it was a competitive matchup like some people were predicting. And I thought he would do a lot better than he did. But overall, I was leaning heavily on Kevin Holland. I was pretty confident on Kevin Holland being able to get the win. I didn't mention in my prediction video, if you guys go back and watch, I did say that I just felt like there was going to be an exchange where Michael Chiesa tries to take down Kevin Holland, and he gets a little bit sloppy, and Kevin Holland is able to capitalize, because Kevin Holland is also a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you know what I'm saying? So Kevin Holland is not no one on the ground. I get it. He was, demolished by Hamza Chimaev, but it is Hamza Chimaev, so we have to take that into consideration. But when it comes to Kevin Holland, after the fight, he did say he wanted to move up back to middleweight, and I was like scratching my head, because I was like, man, you're doing really good at welterweight, and you just beat a ranked fighter in Michael Chiesa. I believe he's number 12 or number 13. It's a pretty good win. I mean, I think that now that Hamza Chimaev is kind of out of the picture, and we have Jack and Ian Gary. He could fight one of those. He could fight JDM in Australia. That would be a great fight. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like Kevin Holland should still stay in the welterweight division. I'm not too sure why he wants to move up to middleweight. I feel like he could still have a lot of success in the welterweight division, just because he's a very long fighter, very powerful, very precise striker. Very big for the weight class as well. So I feel like he could still stay in the welterweight division and maybe fight somebody like JDM, maybe Neil Magny, and Ian Gary if he ends up losing against Jeff Neal, somebody like that in the rankings. Just because I feel like, I'm not saying he's gonna fight for the title and become a champion all of a sudden, but I feel like he could maybe be ranked in the welterweight division. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's going to be ranked after this performance, but we'll see what happens. I really hope he doesn't end up moving to back to middleweight. I feel like he should set a welterweight, but overall, incredible performance for Kevin Holland. Submission in the first round, really impressive against Michael Chiesa, who is a who's a good opponent, but like I said, not the best striking at all. So moving on to the next fight. Ooh, this was a sad one. Tony Ferguson versus Bobby Green. And I did pick Bobby Green by decision, and I was 6 seconds away from that being accurate, but Bobby Green did end up winning the fight. But prior to the fight, of course, I'm going to be rooting for Tony Ferguson. I wanted Tony Ferguson to win. I even made a video on this channel about a week ago, just a message to Tony Ferguson saying that, man, you should really retire. You've really done everything you can with your career. You became the interim champion. You were on a huge lightweight win streak. You were in amazing fights with Anthony Pettis, Donald Cerrone. He's been in a lot of fights. He's a veteran of the sport, but we have to be honest, and he's been on a six fight losing streak. I mean, he got destroyed by Dustin Gaethje. That really was a fight that really changed him. And then he lost to Charles Oliveira by decision, where Charles Oliveira pretty much dominating that fight from start to finish. And then he got dominated by Beneil Dariush. And then he lost by a front kick KO by Michael Chandler. And that fight really, like, that should have been it. Like that, he should have retired after the Michael Chandler fight. So then he decides to come back 2-3 months later and fight Li Jingliang. That fight gets canceled. Hamza Chimaev misses weight. He ends up fighting Nate Diaz and looks awful, man. He looks so bad against Nate Diaz, and he looks so bad, like so bad. And I don't understand why his team hasn't told him, like, man, you should probably call it a career. You've taken so much damage already. Like, what's the point of fighting? You're just pretty much hurting your health, and there's really no point, right? Because, like, let's be honest, he's not really gonna make it to the title. He's not really a top contender in the lightweight division anymore. He really isn't as strong as he used to be. He looks really slow on the feet. His fight IQ is off. His fighting style is a little bit outdated, and I just think that's been showing in his past couple of fights, and I really do think he should call it a career, because I don't even think Bobby Green is all that good, because Bobby Green was landing really clean punches on him, and they weren't really hurting Tony Ferguson. I mean, that right hand that Tony Ferguson landed on him, I think it was a left hand actually. Might have been a left. Really dropped Bobby Green. So Tony Ferguson had a little bit more pop in his shots than Bobby Green, but still, man, I mean, he was getting outstruck by Bobby Green. He did have that moment in the first round that got me really excited. I was like, man, is Tony Ferguson back? Is he about to get a W right now? But unfortunately, guys, he didn't. Bobby Green was able to get a submission in the last 5 seconds of the fight. Credit to him. But it was very sad to see Tony Ferguson go out like that. And like I said, like, the guy's just out of his prime. He's a lot older now. He's taking a lot of damage. And I really don't see who he beats in the lightweight division. Definitely not anybody ranked. And I mean, I guess you could give him Paddy Pimblett, I guess. But I mean, that's not appealing. Like, I just feel like he's disrespecting his legacy. And he's really ruining his legacy, because you want to be remembered for all the wars, for all the wins he had, for the amazing fights, for, you know what I'm saying, for the prime of his career. And unfortunately, people are going to start to remember, oh man, yeah, he went on a 6-fight losing streak. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know if Tony Ferguson just doesn't listen to his team. I don't really know what's going on behind the scenes, but Tony Ferguson should really call it a career. And I think the UFC should take some initiative and really, you know, tell Tony Ferguson, like, look, we love you. We love what you've done for the sport, and you're a fan favorite, but unfortunately, we have to let you go. You know, I think they should let him go, because he's just taking so much damage, man, and he doesn't look good out there. It's not like he's losing competitive fights. Like, he's just getting dominated from round 1 to round 3. He's either getting submitted by guys that don't really submit people, like Bobby Green. He's getting submitted by Nate Diaz. He's getting KO badly by Chandler. He's getting destroyed by Gaethje. He got finished in that fight as well. So no point of Tony Ferguson fighting. But overall, I mean, I guess a good win for Bobby Green. I mean, he didn't really impress me all that well. This was a very lackluster fight in my opinion. Kind of reminded me of the Nate Diaz versus Tony Ferguson fight. So yeah, I mean, Tony Ferguson didn't really look that much improved. I mean, he did seem more focused on fight week, and I thought that, you know, there was a chance that maybe Tony Ferguson was gonna get a W and he was gonna look a lot better. But unfortunately, guys, he didn't, and Bobby Green was able to get the win with that submission in the last 5 seconds of the round. So there's that, guys. So now moving on to this crazy performance. Derek Lewis beats Marcos Rogelio de Lima in the first round in 33 seconds, guys. Wow, he pulled a Masvidal, goes for a flying knee. It actually lands, guys. And watching it live, I did miss this moment because I went to go get some food. So when I came back, I just see Derek Lewis landing ground and pound strikes on the ground. I'm like, what happened? What happened? So I had to catch it on the replay. But man, what a great flying knee. And it really did catch Marcos right on the chin and dropped and really hurt him. And just what a crazy performance by Derek Lewis. And I'm so happy he got the win because, I mean, Derek Lewis was also one of those guys that has been on a losing streak. I mean, he's coming off that loss to Sergey Spivak where he got submitted in the first. And then he's coming off the loss where I think he lost to Sergey Pavlovich. Lost to Taito Ivasa, lost to Cyril Gain. So, you know, not the greatest streak for Derek Lewis, and it just seemed like maybe he wasn't as invested as he used to be, you know what I'm saying? I felt like he might have said, you know, this is enough, and he really wasn't trying, and like, I mean, let's be honest, Derek Lewis is a very one-dimensional fighter. I mean, he has power, and that's the only reason he's in the UFC. If Derek Lewis had no power, man, he would have never been ranked. He would never have fought for the title, but because the guy has so much power in his hands, he could really finish you at any moment in the fight. He really has that heavyweight KO power. He's made it so far, and I'm just glad he had this incredible performance. I do know this was his last fight on his contract, so I do hope he gets to resign or go to the PFL and make more money, you know what I'm saying? Maybe he's gonna acknowledge that, you know, maybe I'm not at the top of my career anymore and I don't want to fight top opponents, but I still want to fight, you know? So it might be a wise decision for Derek Lewis to go to another promotion where he's gonna get paid better and have easier fights like Francis Ngannou. So props to Derek Lewis, huge win. And man, he's a national treasure on the mic, and he's just so funny when he took off his shorts, and loved it. Incredible performance. Just what a contrast. We went from the Tony Ferguson fight to the Derek Lewis. Just crazy emotions, guys. Now let's move on to this newser of the card. Jan Blachowicz versus Alex Pereira. I did post a video just recently talking about why I do think Jan Blachowicz won this fight at least 29-28. Watching it live, I did feel that, because I was rooting for Alex Pereira very hard, I did feel that you could give the fight to Alex Pereira, and some people are saying that on rewatch they feel even stronger that Alex Pereira won the fight. But when I went to go watch it last night again after the whole card was over, I felt like Jan Blachowicz was getting the better of the striking exchanges. Like, he was landing the more significant strikes. Maybe Alex Pereira was landing more strikes, but I think Jan Blachowicz was landing the cleaner strikes, and I think because of that, he should win the fight, in my opinion. I think he won the third round. I know a lot of people are saying that Jan won are saying because of the takedown, and a lot of people that are defending Alex Pereira are saying, well, no, the takedown, there was no damage. But that's not the point. The point was that I felt like Jan Blachowicz landed the better combinations, landed the more significant strikes. Yes, Alex Pereira was landing really nice low kicks, really good jabs to the body, but I never felt like he had any momentum. Only at the end of the second round where he had Jan Blachowicz against the cage where he started throwing uppercuts and stuff like that, where I felt like he had any sort of momentum. And overall, like I said in that video, I just didn't think like these guys put like a great performance. I thought Alex Pereira looked a little bit slow on the feet. Not the greatest shot selection, like I said. He needs to throw a lot more straight shots because people are starting to read him. He just spams hooks, and if you guys watch the Weasel, straight punches be looping punches and stuff like that. And I just feel like he has such a long reach where if he throws jabs and stuff like, and he did start throwing jabs, I believe, in the second round, and they were landing on Jan, and I was like, you should do that more. I told my cousin, I was like, you should probably throw more straight punches. So that's kind of my analysis of that. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy. Honestly, I'm happy, even though I don't think Alex Pereira won. I'm happy that Alex Pereira got the decision because it makes it more exciting for the division. Now he's going to fight Yuri Prochazka, but like I said, I cannot say that he honestly won the fight because I do not feel that. But like I said, I'm happy that he won. I was rooting for him. He's one of my favorite fighters, but I'm glad he won the fight, and I'm glad he's going to be able to fight Yuri Prochazka hopefully at the end of this year, and I think that's a very exciting matchup. I would lean Yuri Prochazka to win that fight, but that's nor here nor there. Now let's talk for the fight that everyone is talking about. Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje 2. What an incredible fight as long as it lasted, guys. The very first round, Justin Gaethje looked so improved. I mean, his footwork was incredible. He was so accurate. He usually likes to overextend, and sometimes he gets a little too crazy and starts overthrowing and just kind of putting himself in bad positions, but he was throwing really good shots to the body, really good combination on Dustin Poirier, was getting the better of the exchanges. Even when he was in the pocket and Dustin Poirier started throwing shots as well, Justin Gaethje was coming out of those exchanges on top. I mean, he did land 33 strikes to 27 strikes against Dustin Poirier in the very first round. More accuracy for Justin Gaethje too, with 59%, Dustin Poirier at 53%. So, I mean, you could make an argument that Justin Gaethje won the first round. I think you could also make an argument that Dustin Poirier won the first round because he caught him with the straight left. I think he hurt him with the straight left 2 times. I think the first time it hurt his eye, and then the second one, they kind of stunned him back a little bit. I mean, it was not a near-ending fight shot, but he did kind of hurt Justin Gaethje. But I mean, it doesn't really matter, right? Because Justin Gaethje ended up winning. But I think you could give Justin Gaethje the first round, in my opinion. I think he was doing a lot better. Now, moving on to the round 2, prior to the knockout, right, prior to the head kick, I think Justin Gaethje was landing. I don't think Dustin Poirier landed a single strike in the second round. So Justin Gaethje did a lot better. He did the same move as Leon Edwards. I mean, he threw the right hand. He faked like he was gonna throw the right hand and then threw the kick behind it. Just an incredible shot. And I think Dustin Poirier's boxing kind of defense just made it very susceptible for him to get head kick, right? Because he tried to cover with his left hand, but it still wasn't enough, and he didn't bring it back to his face fast enough for him to stop the impact of the kick. And even if he would have, the impact probably would have been so strong. He probably needed both his hands, both his arms to really stop the head kick from landing. And yeah, I mean, a beautiful head kick KO by Justin Gaethje. What an incredible performance. But this was not a Hail Mary shot, guys. This was a new and improved Justin Gaethje. Very impressed with what he was able to do in his fight. And I honestly think this guy's very dangerous, man. I'd be very scared. As a Charles Oliveira fan, if they rematch, I'd be scared. Obviously, Charles can always take it to the ground, but Charles has also taken a lot of punishment. And if this patient Gaethje is fights the way he fought Dustin Poirier against Charles Oliveira, I think Charles Oliveira can be in a lot of trouble. And I mean, I don't know. I don't think he beats Islam, but I think he has a really good chance, guys. I'm gonna be honest. I think he has a good chance. I think this Justin Gaethje makes it interesting. I think prior to this fight, we're like, man, we don't want to see Justin Gaethje in a title fight. We don't want to see Dustin Poirier in a title fight. But Justin Gaethje being so improved and really being patient, very technical, very accurate, improved fight IQ, very durable. I think that it's very exciting now for the lightweight division. And I think Justin Gaethje needs to fight Islam or Charles, the winner of that. I mean, the thing that gets very complicated, right, is because if Charles Oliveira wins, are they going to do the immediate trilogy? And if they do that, I mean, why not do Volkanovski versus Justin Gaethje, winner fights Islam or Charles? You know, if there ends up being a trilogy, but we'll see what happens because, I mean, I am leaning Islam Makhachev to win the rematch against Charles Oliveira, but we'll see what happens. Now, for Dustin Poirier, guys, I'm very surprised he didn't retire. I'm gonna be honest, just because I feel like he's done so much, he's earned so much money, he's gotten the big fights, the big paydays, as we like to say, and I felt like this was a KO that you probably don't come back the same. But in his post-fight interview, it seemed like he still wants to come back, and I agree. And I understand his perspective, right? Because as a fighter, you've done so much work. You don't want to end your career on a head kick KO loss, you know? It feels kind of bad, you know? You don't want to end in that kind of memory. But, I mean, I don't understand him either, right? Because in the post-fight interview, he did say he didn't want to fight anymore. He didn't want to fight contenders. He wanted to fight fights that interest him. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? I mean, you mean like a Colby Covington fight? Like another Conor McGregor fight? Like, what did he mean by that? And like, I don't know, man. I think that he might end up retiring. We'll see what happens. For sure, he needs a lot of time off, like at least a year, because that was a nasty KO loss. And I think that maybe a Fiziev matchup, if Fiziev beats Gamrot, that would be pretty interesting. But like like I said, he said he didn't want to fight any rising contenders. So we'll see what happens, guys. But anyway, Justin Gaethje's improved. Props to him, right? Because I feel like I'm one of those people that really heavily underestimates Justin Gaethje. And I've been picking against him. I mean, I picked Fiziev to beat him. I picked Dustin Poirier to beat him. I thought Dustin Poirier would be too much for him. But no, I mean, Justin Gaethje really did improve it. And all props to him. And like I said, like it just makes the lightweight division a lot more exciting. But like I said, guys, overall, this card was an amazing card. Please let me know down in the comments below what you thought of this card and what you thought of the fights in general. I'd say it's like my third favorite card of the year. UFC 290 was better. Definitely UFC 290 is number 1. This might be number 2, but I need to go back and really think about that, guys. But anyway, please make sure to like and subscribe to these videos. Please keep them coming. Please, like I said, comment, click the like button because that really helps me. That really helps the algorithm really get my videos out there. Post anything on the comments, guys, like feedback, anything, like anything. I really want to have a conversation. I really want to start a community, and I really want to get to 100 subscribers, guys. So please help me out. Please make sure to like and subscribe the video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.